For instance, in April 2016, under the watch of the former president, WASE papers leaked on various social media platforms before the examinations were even taken. But these papers were not cancelled. Neither was the examination rescheduled. Yet, in the view of the former president, the WAEC published WASE results in that particular year was a very good one, was sterling, and was not as a result of cheating. In response to consistent leakage of these exams at the BEC and WASE level, the former president made a comment, and this is what he said. The council is an independent international body, and I quote him, and so government cannot interfere in its operational affairs. But the government wishes to call on the WAEC to put its house in order. It is most discouraging when students have prepared assiduously for 3 solid years, only to be confronted with incidences of leakages. The question we'd ask ourselves is, what has changed for beneficiaries of Free Senior High School? However, one cannot underestimate the intelligence of the SHS students who sit for the WASE examination. Their efforts, their sacrifices, these cannot be watered down because of parochial political interest by a former president who was given an opportunity after becoming a vice president, and yet to date is unable to tell us what his transformational plan was for senior high school education. The quality of students produced in Ghana today is not only assessed by the WASE results. Though the WASE results is very important, students from Ghana who are beneficiaries of Free Senior High School policy have participated in complex international competitions and have emerged winners. Prempeh College in 2023 won 2 world titles in 2023 RoboFest, held in the United States of America after beating their contenders in the USA and Mexico. In 2020, the same Prempeh College won the same competition by beating students from Canada, Hong Kong, South Korea, and the USA. And you can see the pictures as evidence. Let's even say Prempeh College is a Class A school, and so we say it is not surprising. How about my beloved Manfigel Senior High School? Manfigel Senior High School today competes with first-class institutions across the world. They competed in the robotics and coding competitions, and ladies and gentlemen, the girls' school in Manfi, in the eastern region of Ghana, conquered the world. These young girls, who come from different backgrounds, different areas and different locations in this country, these young girls that are made up of the poor and the rich, sit together, work together to pursue their dreams and their childhood fantasies without barriers, and with an educational system that is preparing them to be ready and compete with their colleagues anywhere in the world. These are not rhetorics. These things are happening in Ghana under the Free Senior High School education. And you can see these girls nicely dressed, showcasing the beautiful kente in the United States of America. Again, we are all witnesses to the sterling performance and sheer brilliance that these students exhibit during the National Science and Maths Quiz competition in Ghana. We have also been aware of the exploits of students from the Efiakobi Ampim Girls Senior High School who are modeling flying aeroplanes, and the achievement of other senior high schools in this country. The performance of these students in the WASE, therefore, do not come as a surprise to parents, guardians, and well-wishers who are following and monitoring the performance of these children and what they are doing in the schools with the assistance of their teachers. You remember the young Thomas Amweni, this young man who had 8 A's in the WASE exams. Yes, the young boy from Adeso Presby Senior High School who had been left without hope and was stuck with subsistence farming in the Upper West Akim district of this country. He was spotted, given a scholarship by government to study in the Brunei University in the United Kingdom. Today, this student that was a product of Free Senior High School and had this sterling performance during the WASE exams is currently one of the best performing students in this first-class university in the UK. How is a boy who cheated, as a result got 8 A's, still topping in the United Kingdom and making Ghana proud? How is that possible? Across the world today, many young Ghanaians are lifting the flag of Ghana, lifting it very high and doing amazing things academically. And these things are not only reflecting in the WASE results, but they are happening in other spaces, and we are all seeing it. The least one can do in this situation is to appreciate the efforts and sacrifices of these students, their teachers, parents, and all stakeholders that support them for them to perform well. If you do not want to commend government because, of course, it goes against you, the least you can do is to appreciate these children and not to run them down. It is complete, total disrespect, and from no other person than a former president who should know better to be running down our young children and calling them names. If he cannot appreciate the consistent effort of these teachers from schools like the Keita Senior High School, St. James Seminary in Sunyane, Prempeh College, Presec, Legon, Manfe Methodist Girls, Wesley Girls Senior High School, my beloved Latte Presby Senior High Technical School, that for the first time is producing students who are coming up with 6 A's, 5 A's, and 4 A's. If he cannot appreciate the efforts of these students, their parents, and their teachers, then he should stop insulting them blatantly, insulting their intelligence, and running down their sacrifices. Till this moment, ladies and gentlemen, the entire country is in shock as to how the incompetent, corrupt, and failed former president could unashamedly attempt to denigrate the provision of tablets for senior high school students. That one tool, which would quicken the transformation processes of our senior high school education into the digital area, and for them to be ready for the world ahead of them. For someone who has been a gracious beneficiary of the Ghanaian education system in the past, it is problematic for all of us to find this failed former president set his eyes and heart on and bitterness against these young Ghanaians as they benefit from the revolutionized education system. The rollout of one student, one tablet policy may have been hard to take for the NDC and the former president. Of course, for them, it's a big hit because they failed to deliver on the same promise they made in his 2016 State of the Nation address. But it is certainly welcome news for all Ghanaians, especially students in the senior high schools, that today our children are benefiting from one student, one tablet. And I'm sure you all recall the comment our former president made. In fact, he's on record to have said, and I'm sure the video is scrolling for all of us to see. This is a former president of the Republic of Ghana, the man who promised the whole of this country that he was going to give children tablets, to deliver textbooks, to deliver revision notes, to deliver past questions, asking the relevance of one student, one tablet to these same students in 2024.
The current government. Otherwise, if you're using 1.3 billion cedis to give pre-tertiary students laptop, our priority would have been different. There are other things begging for funding in our educational system than those laptops.
Flashback. And we're going to pilot the use of electronic textbooks at the secondary level, and junior high school and secondary level. And so students will receive tablets that have all their core textbooks on the tablet.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I am sure at this point you can all clearly identify the hypocrisy, the contradictions of our failed former president. You promised these children in 2016 that you're going to give them tablets. You lost elections because you could not deliver. Fast forward 2023, His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, announced that we, the New Patriotic Party, were going to distribute tablets to students of senior high school in this country. The NDC, in their usual impossibility character and posture, came out to ridicule this announcement, hoping it will never come to reality. But on the heels of the hard-working Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the policy was launched and distribution, as we speak, has started. These tablets come in to provide textbooks, past questions, lesson videos, and other educational resources to help teaching and learning, and to also greatly save costs for both students and government. Now the hypocrisy. Isn't it unfortunate that the failed former president and the NDC would, in the full-blown of hypocritical parade, come to display their bitterness towards a policy and especially its beneficiaries, who are all Ghanaians of this country? The incompetent former president, after promising to roll out and distribute tablets across this country and failing woefully to implement this promise, comes to question the priority of government to do the exact thing that he promised some 7 years, 8 years ago, and could not deliver. If this is not double standards, if this is not hypocrisy, then I leave the judgment to the good people of this country. Further checks even goes on to bring up that the former president, on page 70 of his 2020 manifesto, that is barely 3.5 years ago, promised to distribute tablets to all senior high school students in this country, should they win power. So it's baffling, extremely baffling, how the same former president labels the distribution of tablets that he promised and couldn't deliver, which this time, because he's going to free senior high school beneficiaries, he labels them misplaced and a bribe for votes. The question is, was he seeking to bribe the students when he promised them in 2016? Was he seeking to bribe them when he promised them in 2020? The biggest question we are all seeking to get answers from the former president is, what does he have against this innocent, dreaming senior high school beneficiaries? It is ridiculous, extremely ridiculous, for a former president whose regime struggled to provide common chalk for our classrooms, and had the former second lady best out to tell Ghanaian teachers and schools that their government was not going to provide any chalk for teachers today, and they were not going to provide chalks for them tomorrow. It is ridiculous for him to come back and ask us why we are providing tablets for senior high schools in the times that we are providing smart blackboards in our schools. And I'll be glad if we had a video to play, just to remind Ghanaians the kind of person we have to deal with in election 2024. Today, we have transitioned, and across this country, we are slowly and gradually moving from chalk and blackboard. We've even moved slowly from filmmaker board, and we are heading towards smart boards in our schools. And the former president thinks that we are not ready to provide or for our children to have tablets, but they were ready to receive tablets at the time when even chalks could not be provided for this case. Gradually, the lid is falling off, and the country is becoming glaringly aware of the credibility deficit of the former president. What is more worrying is the sheer bitterness, unbelievably sheer bitterness, and the constant attacks that the former president met on these, constantly meting out on these free SHS beneficiaries, apparently for no reason. The former president needs to do away with this bitterness against the beneficiaries of free senior high school, because clearly they cannot be blamed for his failure as a president. Neither can the 2 occasions that he lost his elections or was rejected by the people of Ghana be blamed on these senior high school beneficiaries. It is important that from today onwards, we see a complete seizure from the former president in the manner in which he goes about attacking the free senior high school beneficiaries. This government is particularly happy to indicate that since assumption of office in 2017, the education sector is one sector that has been given utmost priority for nearly 7 constant years. And it is for a good reason. Indeed, education, we all agree, is a subject that is unavoidable. Whatever else one is talking about, be it health, agriculture, ICT, industrialization, housing, security, even our macro economy, education is at the top of all of them. It is imperative of a nation aiming to transform itself into a modern, productive player in the global market to get its educational policies right. There is no part of Ghana or segment of our society that does not recognize the importance of education. We have all accepted that education is the best route to moving this country out of poverty. That is because the nation, or nations that have made rapid progress around the world, have all put education at the heart of their development agenda. It is for this reason that systematically and deliberately this government has been working to transform the various levels in the educational sector, looking at both soft and hard issues. This government is not only building classrooms. This government is transforming education from the kindergarten level to the tertiary level, and we'll show that this afternoon. In our kindergarten schools, we are heavily investing in our teachers, equipping them with modern technologies tailored for early childhood development. We have provided age-appropriate learning materials, play equipment, and resources for interactive and engaging learning experiences. Today, we are executing over 1,300 infrastructural interventions at the kindergarten level, setting new standards for early childhood education. These schools boast of cutting-edge technology, including smart boards, to enhance interactive learning experience. We are pleased to report that a substantial number of these projects are actually nearing completion, and they will be fully operational by the end of this year. And I'm sure a lot of us have seen the ultra-modern Kwabenya kindergarten school that we have operating as we speak this afternoon. And you can see it sliding on the video. Fellow Ghanaians, this is a kindergarten school in the Republic of Ghana. Like I said, the New Patriotic Party is not just building schools, we are transforming education in this country. Our children deserve to be ready for the world ahead of them. Our children deserve to be ready for the age of AI, robotics, and every single thing that is ahead of them as they grow. And that is what the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, Bawumia, and the MPP government is delivering to this country systematically. I challenge the NDC to show us the number of KGs they built during their time, and not just the buildings, but show us their transformational agenda. We have boldly displayed the transformation we are bringing into our KGs, and we are boldly displaying the schools we are building for the kindergartens. We want the people of Ghana, those whose decisions are going to be based on KGs, because their children are coming, to have the basis to make that decision. They should show us the KGs they built. We put it side by side the KGs we are showing you, and let the people of Ghana decide. Now, at the primary level, in our primary schools today, the Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration has focused a substantial number of its interventions on empowering our teachers through extensive training and capacity building. We have ensured a consistent provision of learning materials and embarked on targeted infrastructure upgrades to create conducive learning environment for our teachers and our students at the primary level. The implementation of the National Standardized Test for Primary 2 and Primary 4 pupils is a pivotal step towards assessing and improving learning outcomes. It is gratifying to reiterate that proficiency in reading for Primary 2 students has seen a significant improvement from 2%, a meager 2%, to a whopping 38%. 2% to 38%. That is what we call transformation. That's what we call improvement. Now, the junior high schools. Our focus at the junior high school has been to strengthen and have a lower secondary education that is robust and ready to unleash children that can fit into the modern senior high school system that we are introducing. 11 model schools are currently under construction. Each of these 11 model schools are designed with modern amenities to provide optimal learning environment for our kids. People of Ghana, this is the junior high school that the MPP government is introducing this country to. This is a new era, and this is the world that we are moving junior high school education towards. This is the model JHS that we are putting up, and this is what we are asking, that the new patriotic party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, is allowed to continue to gradually and systematically transform our schools to this level. The Ghana National Digital Literacy Project is ensuring that the Ghana National Digital Literacy Project is ensuring that every student is equipped to thrive in the global digital economy. And so we are not listening to the failed former corrupt president. We are continuing with our digital transformation, and we are continuing with equipping our children. The heart of this endeavor lies in our primary schools, where the foundation of the learning is laid. Phase 1 of this digital project is focusing on establishing smart labs in 700 public junior high schools across the country. These labs will be equipped with a suite of tools, including tablets. The tablets that the former president doesn't want to hear will be made available in the labs at the junior high schools for these students to have a feel of them even before they get to the senior high school. Content access points will be there. Projectors will be in these labs, robotics kits for STEM education, and essential storage and charging units. And we'll also show you some of the labs that we are building. And again, this is not a green book. This is not a 3D design. This is a lab that has been built and operational in a junior high school in this country. So, as you can see, our children are playing with robots at the junior high school. Our children are playing with lab coats at the junior high school. Our children are playing with artificial intelligence at the junior high school. This is what we started. This is happening. And as we speak, it is ongoing in several schools. And the transformation continues unabated. The former failed, corrupt, incompetent president does not believe in this. And clearly, he cannot be handed over this country to set all of these things back for us as a people. Additionally, our commitment to inclusivity is shining through everything that we do, as we provide 226 laptops and braille embossers to cater for the unique needs of our special learners in our special needs schools. We are pleased to announce that this project has successfully delivered smart lab hardware to some 484 schools across all the 16 regions of Ghana. This great achievement ensures that the technological infrastructure is firmly in place to facilitate digital learning. The goal of the Bawumia government is to establish a smart lab in each of the 27,064 schools across Ghana, accompanied by comprehensive training for at least 2 teachers per school. Now, TVET. Ladies and gentlemen, technical vocational educational training has seen a comprehensive modernization and expansion drive. New state-of-the-art facilities are under construction, whilst existing ones are undergoing renovation and upgrading. The dual TVET method, which combines classroom learning with practical on-the-job training, is changing how TVET education is delivered in this country. This is ensuring that learners are well prepared for their chosen field and we'll show you some of the TVET training centers as we have it. We are showing you these things so you know that these are not things that are happening on paper, but these are things that are happening across the length and breadth of this country. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a modern workshop, what we used to call workshop. This is a modern workshop for our TVET institutions. Mentioned that this is Ghana, you would think this is a Benz or BMW workshop in Germany, or probably in Japan or South Korea. But fellow Ghanaians, this is Ghana. And this is where Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and the MPP is pushing this country towards. All we are asking is, let's finish this. Let's bring this to an end. Let's send this to every corner of this country. Let's send this to every school dotted across this country. The schools who are benefiting from this can see the essence of it. The other children in my district, in your district, in your village, in your community also deserve to have this. And once it is work in progress, it is only the New Patriotic Party that believe in this. We know how we brought this to bear, and we know how we can finish this. In addition to this, a comprehensive review of TVET curricula has also been undertaken to align them with current industry demands and emerging technologies. This process involved collaboration with industry stakeholders to identify the skills and competencies needed for a rapidly evolving job market. The revised curricula aims to equip students with practical job-ready skills that are in high demand. Today, TVET education has also been made free, and this has seen a major leap in the enrollment in the TVET institutions. Indeed, according to the Ghana TVET report published by the Commission, total enrollment in government TVET institutions from year 1 to year 3 stood at 41,696 in 2016. Ladies and gentlemen, by 2020, the data showed that we had increased to 100,086 students. With this new enrollment, the total number of enrollment in government TVET institutions today stands well over 157,681. Fellow Ghanaians, a whooping 100,000 increase in enrollment in our TVET institutions. Since the Akufo-Addo government took office in 2017, we have invested over $6.7 billion into TVET. And this is equipping their workshops, providing them with facilities, modernizing the institutions, which clearly excludes the free TVET education that we talk of. This is the greatest investment in TVET by any government since independence. And I challenge the failed former president to give us any other evidence contrary to what I have indicated. STEM education has become the cornerstone of progress and innovation in our modern world. It equips our youth with critical skills needed to navigate an increasingly technology-driven global landscape. Our efforts in the past 7 years has been to position Ghana as a leader in STEM education and innovation on the African continent. The percentage of general science students in our schools has been some 12% for some time. But we are happy to state that the percentage of general science students in our schools today has risen to about 15% as in 2023, and is expected to even increase more to about 24% in 2024. Government is creating a STEM pipeline to increase STEM enrollment at the tertiary education level through pre-engineering programs. The pre-engineering program has been introduced to target senior high school graduates in general arts, visual arts, and business studies. The one-year pre-university program launched in February 2022 has admitted 8 second cohorts of students. The objective is to increase the talent pool from which engineers can be selected to ensure the number of engineering graduates, that is the first degree and the HND, increases from 6,500 to 30,000 by the year 2030. We have a vision, we have an objective, we have a goal, and we're working towards that. At the senior high school level, increasing enrollment in STEM has been made possible by operationalizing 4 newly constructed STEM model schools and converting 3 existing schools into STEM modern schools. The Ghana STEM Academy schools are the Abomosu STEM Academy, Awaso STEM Academy, Kasenkwe STEM Academy, Bosomtwe Girls STEM Academy, the Accra High School STEM Center, and the Kwase Secondary Technical School. These schools have been equipped with state-of-the-art laboratories, classrooms, dormitories, assembly halls, dining halls, and conducive environment to foster teaching and learning. There are some 2,400 students enrolled to general science and STEM in these 7 schools. Government has completed the construction of 10 regional STEM centers to train a complete STEM pipeline from the primary level through JHS and the senior high school level. The Accra High School STEM Center is operational, and it receives some 250 students almost every time who undertake training in robotics. In fact, on a daily basis, it receives 250 students every day who undertake training in robotics, 3D printing, coding, physics, chemistry, and biology for junior high schools and SHS students who are in the Greater Accra region. 6 other centers, which are at 90% completion stage, are located in Infantimim School, Fijai SHS, Koforidua SHS, Jinejine SHS, Ahafoma SHS, Ebuakwa SHS, whilst the rest, namely Mawuko SHS, Seshiri also Senior High School, Atebubu SHS, are between 30 to 50% completion. We have also embarked on retooling of science laboratories, physics, chemistry, and biology of some 180 selected senior high schools. These are STEM centers in our regions that I'm going to show you, where over 250 students on daily basis visit to have hands-on experience and exposure to robotics, AI, and other
science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. STEM is being implemented. And this year, in our capacity, I'm excited to introduce to you a number of institutions that are going to be in operation. For now, 1 school in the Northeast region, 1 in the Eastern region, 2 in Ashanti region are ready for operation.
Welcome to Ghana STEM Schools. These state-of-the-art learning centers have ultra-modern facilities, specially designed infrastructure, and most of all are completely smart with digital connectivity and an integrated school management system. Our school management system will allow stakeholders to be part of the learning experience like never before. Amazingly, students, parents, teachers, administrators, and even the Minister for Education can access educational tools, demographic data, and school trends with a click. In addition to some of the most magnificent...
This one is not coming. This one is on there. The sound is on there.
Ghana STEM schools will feature expert STEM instructors, world-class laboratory equipment, and in the test for public education in Ghana, we will introduce STEM career pathways including computer science, aviation, aeronautics, engineering, biomedical science, and global studies. Students completing Ghana STEM schools will be referred to...
Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Ghanaians, this is Ghana. This is not the United States of America. This is not Singapore. This is not Indonesia. We have schools in this country, senior high schools in this country that have aviation as their courses. Just as we have Art 1, Art 2, Business 2, Home Economics, Biology, Chemistry. We have senior high school students in Ghana that are studying aviation as their courses, robotics as their senior high school courses. This is the transformation we speak of. This is the transformation we are working at. And this is the transformation we promised the people of Ghana. And so if we spend over 6.7 billion Ghana cedis in TVET, and we are making such massive investment in STEM, you could see the connection, the integration, and the consistency, and the commitment of this government towards transforming education in this country once and for all. Our commitment to the growth of the creative art industry, is also evident through the ongoing construction of the very first senior high school in Ghana dedicated solely to creative art. And I'm sure a lot of you have not even heard that we have a senior high school dedicated solely to the creative arts in Kwadaso, in the Ashanti region. The school is currently at 70% completion level and is ready to admit its first year students this year. For us in the MPP, there could be no more fitting place for the siting of the first of the many of such edifices than the ancient, vibrant city of Kumasi, famed for its rich pedigree of culture, music, dance, folklore, and drama. And so the people of Kumasi, Kumawood, are receiving their senior high school. Very soon they will receive their junior high school, have their primary school, and have their tertiary school as well. We want to ensure that every Ghanaian child, even at the age of the junior high level, is able to follow their passion from the get-go. Government intends, okay, so this is the Kwadaso Model Creative Art School. Just before somebody will say that, where is it? This is the school. And this school is solely dedicated to creative arts. This is a senior high school. This is not a university. This campus is bigger than most polytechnics that we know in this country. Am I right? And this is not a polytechnic. This is not a teacher training college or nursing training college. This is not a university. This is a senior high school dedicated to bringing up creative arts talent, even at that level. Government intends to construct more of such schools across the country so that young people from every nook and cranny can gain access to this kind of specialized education to improve and hone their skills in the creative arts, even at very tender age. Now, free SHS. Friends of the media, fellow Ghanaians, give me your ears. The failed, corrupt, and incompetent former president has already given a clear indication that he will not spend on senior high school as much as the Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo government is spending on free SHS. He's indicated clearly that his priorities are different. And for us, that is fine. Every leader has his own priority. Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo's priority is to remove all barriers to senior high school education, and that's what he's pursued. The former president has clearly indicated that is not his priority, and we are fine by that. But this explains his constant, consistent, and persistent attack on one of the biggest and most impactful social intervention policies this country has ever seen since our independence. Indeed, it is without any argument or any shred of doubt that free senior high school policy, in terms of impact, it's either the first or second to just the National Health Insurance Scheme, which were both introduced by the New Patriotic Party. The first government under President Kufuor opened up access at the primary and junior high school level. President Kufuor introduced a lot of reforms at the basic school, made F-Cube, free compulsory universal basic education, a reality that was made under President Kufuor's time. President Kufuor, in addition to that, brought innovations like the school feeding program and several other transformations simply to ensure that formal education becomes attractive for the poor and society, so that money does not exclude or does not become an obstacle to any Ghanaian anywhere. This truly allowed the poor in our society to dream of pursuing formal education. And you all recall that this led to a surge in the enrollment numbers at the basic level. Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, seeing the vision President Kufuor had and knowing what was coming, knew that something had to be done at the senior high school level to receive these large numbers. This surge in enrollment coming from the junior high school as a result of the reforms that President Kufuor had introduced. It was always coming and was right in our face. That is why as far back as 2008, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo started talking about free senior high school education. His principle and understanding was simple. It was based on the fact that if the person is poor at the basic level and needed help to enroll for primary and GHS, then this same person will need help to pursue senior high school education. So clearly, President Kufuor opened the floodgates. He removed cost as a barrier, incentivized the poor, so that even if in addition to not being able to pay for the fees, you still don't have money to buy food for your child, he provides food. This led to increase in numbers at the basic school as far back as 2008. And now Dankwa Akufo-Addo at that time knew what was coming, and he knew we were not ready. He knew these children that were poor at the basic level, that needed help before they could pursue basic education, will still need help to pursue senior high school education. His philosophy is that no child should be left behind because of money in the pursuit of education. It is the surest way to allow every child to dream and aspire to be great. It is quite evident that a recent barrage of attacks on the free SHS policy and its beneficiaries, the Akufo-Addo graduates, by the NDC's perennial flag bearer, the failed, corrupt, and incompetent former president, it is evident that he is doing all of this out of sheer envy, bitterness, and hatred towards these promising young Ghanaians and young children, not because of anything, but simply because he'd never expected it to be a reality. Back in the days when the MPP's flag bearer was championing the cause for free SHS as far back as 2008, the NDC was staunchly opposed to it, casting doubt on its feasibility and effectiveness. They even went as far as launching about 40 TV adverts. Fellow Ghanaians, 40 TV adverts were run against a policy that was only being proposed as far back as 2008. They labeled the free SHS policy as an all-lie-be-lie promise. However, the successful implementation of the free SHS policy in 2017 clearly has brought about monumental changes and advancements in our secondary education system, and that is showing in the quality of children we are churning out. I think we should remind ourselves just a little bit about what we experienced in 2008.
Going all over the country, shouting, free SHS, free SHS, free SHS. That is what you call all lie be lie.
It is quite evident the significance of the free SHS policy evidently cannot be downplayed. It has not only opened doors and opportunities for countless young Ghanaians, but it's also leveled the playing field, allowing every child to dream big, and to achieve their fullest potential. It's a testament to the government's commitment to investing in the future of our nation and ensuring that no child is left behind. The free SHS policy has significantly increased access to secondary education without doubt for Ghanaian students, particularly for those from the low-income families. By removing financial barriers, more students have been able to enroll and complete their secondary education, thereby reducing the dropout rate and improving overall education attainment levels. The government has, since free SHS implementation, made efforts to address the challenges in our secondary education sector that have been exposed by the implementation of the policy, such as the inadequate distribution of infrastructure in the senior high schools in the country. Through this policy, the government has significantly expanded infrastructure in secondary institutions nationwide, ensuring that every Ghanaian child has access to quality education regardless of their socioeconomic background or location. Today, almost 80% of senior high schools have been provided with the needed infrastructure, and they have their enrollment numbers doubled. This includes the construction of new schools, dormitories, libraries, laboratories, and other facilities to accommodate the increased student population and enhance the learning environment. Since the implementation of the free senior high school policy, there's been noticeable improvement in academic performance amongst the students, with access to quality education and support from our hard-working teachers. Many students have excelled academically, achieving high scores in examinations such as the WAEC-WASE examination. Students who benefited from the free SHS policy are excelling in their post-secondary education in Ghana and across the world, whereas other products are also receiving top sub-regional awards and honors. The success of free senior high school policy is a threat to the NDC and the perennial flag bearer who believes that Ghanaians have short memory. Ghanaians truly do not have short memories, as he has always assumed. Ghanaians remember how students were sacked from class due to inability of their parents to pay their fees. Ghanaians remember how students were chased out of examination centers due to fees owed schools. Ghanaians remember how students' results were blocked because they owed school fees after completion. Ghanaians remember how over 100,000 Ghanaians were left on the streets because their parents could not afford to pay senior high school fees. This is a policy that a lot of Ghanaians today are scratching their heads and wondering what the fate will be after Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is done with his presidency. And that is why Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is not resting nor sleeping, but combing every corner of this country to ensure he becomes president, to protect this gain and enhance it to the benefit of all. With the former president, we are not sure of the fate of the free senior high school. He has said he is going to review free senior high school. The question is, what is review? Free senior high school is clearly a financial intervention. Free senior high school is doing only one thing, which is to pay for the fees of the children of the senior high school. If you say review, what does it mean? Are you saying that you are going to reduce the amount of money you paid for the parents, so the parents would now pay some part and you pay parts? Are you saying that you are going to segregate and ensure that, or make sure that some parents are paying whilst others don't pay? What exactly does review mean? And anytime you ask the former president to tell you about his position on the free SHS, he says, I will review. What is review? Review can mean so many things. Review can mean segregation. Review can mean reducing and making it a discount or subsidy. Review can mean so many things. We want to be sure what exactly he means. Parents are having issues. Parents are having challenges. Parents are wondering. Parents are thinking. Parents are struggling. They want to know what the fate of this historic policy is beyond Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Parents who have experienced free senior high school, parents who have gone through free senior high school and seen its benefits, wants to know the benefits, the outcome or the fate of this policy going into the future. This is one of the most impactful, if not number one, the second or the first most impactful social intervention policy this country has had. And it is the reason why parents across this country are constantly asking what happens to Free Senior High School after Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo?
And came out with 16. How did it happen? Let's see. This is a story of one of the girls who was able to enter through the Free Senior High School policy. Now in the tertiary student, that's the Takoradi Technical University. Now we are coming to interview here today to find out about herself, the stories about how she got into the Free Senior High School. She went to that grade 30 and came out with 16. How did it happen? Let's see that.
Baba, yes, sir. I can say if you can say in your danger, our central region. The movie will whenever is. It's in the whenever it's in the advocacy can be on the base worthy. The base was in the civilian employee and maybe direct. It's Usha and then you may be as in Kakama. Why I sit you. It's abandoned and now in free education. The TBR, the double friend bed, but Marco School, and see Kakrakra near the Koshi, Kakrakra, so working every and Kakrakra, CCR, so you to my son, the Organ Contestia institution, some come. Mrs. When you're Takradi Technical University, yet now got to one CCR, our wholesale of Lucian Adibio. Yana do. Improvement or the education, we are Marcasa, Mukwa assurance and Mukwa assurance were 1987 to 90. In fact, those in the northern region, Omuba, the northern Guinea, there was scholarship for going to school fees. Those in the local area are one northness and fancy for Santa for into school fees. It's in fact, Nana go to the Martin Bread Party, or Bois, a kind of phone, other tractions are mostly together, and can make it to school fees in a free of my head. I've worn the papa. In fact,
this man, his family, his people, his children, his relations, and so many other people within his community are scratching their heads. They are wondering. They are asking themselves questions. This policy that is creating a future for their children, what will be the fate? What happens to Free Senior High School after Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo after January 7th, 2025? Millions of Ghanaians are asking that question. Millions of Ghanaians are wondering. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is clear. He's been very emphatic. He will protect Free Senior High School. Free Senior High School will be maintained in a shape and form, which is to pay for the school fees of every Ghanaian child that is in the senior high school. Whilst at that, he will continue the transformational agenda, continue to provide the needed infrastructure, continue to provide the needed amenities to accommodate the numbers that are coming up. Today, house helps, what we used to call maids, of children who hitherto should be in classrooms, but because their parents could not afford, were wasting away. They are in short today in this country. Today, you go to the farming communities, you go to the cocoa growing areas, the mining areas, you go to the areas that children used to wander on the streets because their parents could not afford. They are in classrooms. Today, that child who was all the way in Kasape and never knew anything about Addis Adel except to see it in the news is in Addis Adel College and is competing with the rich, the affluent, and all manner of people in this country. We need to protect this policy. If there is anything at all that we need to be mindful of, it is that for the rest of us Ghanaians who are going to be going to the polls in December 2024, we need to remember that the millions of these children, millions of children and millions of parents, parents whose children are now coming to the senior high school are counting on us. Their fate is in our hands. Their fate is in our hands because we need to make a choice to ensure that free SHS is maintained and improved upon, or a choice to leave it in the hands of a man who never believed in it, spoke against it, is ashamed of its success, and for which reason doesn't want to see it in any form, or to leave it in the hands of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, that man who has been part of the implementation of this project, understands the nature and sense of it, and is willing and ready to pursue it. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's vision on education is clear. It is one, to build Ghana, one, to leverage on technology, data, and systems for inclusive education. Under Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's presidency, God willing, in 2025, there will be an enhanced focus on TVET education. Dr. Bawumia will support and facilitate the establishment of a national open university, University Ghana, in collaboration with the private sector and with focus on technical, vocational skills and ICT. In preparing the Ghanaian child for the fourth industrial revolution workplace, the MPP presidential candidate, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, will enhance the repositioning of the educational system towards STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and maths, robotics, artificial intelligence, vocational skills, to cope with demands of the fourth industrial revolution and job creation. That is where the world is moving towards, and that's what Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia promises. Again, in the light of the new path in IT, the presidency of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, God willing, in 2025, will also make coding and robotics standard in senior high schools. The foundation has been laid, as we've clearly demonstrated this afternoon. And with the ongoing provision of these tablets to the SHS students, a lot more will be done under a Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia presidency. Dr. Bawumia will also implement a one student, one laptop policy for tertiary students through the provision of zero interest loan with a 70% discount on the cost of the laptops payable over a period of 4 years for all tertiary students. For most of us who attended the University of Ghana, the first time we touched a laptop was 3-4 years after we were done with national service, and we had some 500, 600 cedis of allowances from our jobs. We went through the University of Ghana without ever owning a laptop. Only God knows what we went through to be able to survive this. Today, in the age of Zoom classes, in the age of Teams classes, in the age of assignments and examination being written online, every Ghanaian student in the tertiary institution deserves to have a laptop. You assume every child can afford. That is not the case. The child who couldn't afford in DHS and relied on government to be able to go to GHS is that same child who is in the senior high school relying on government to be able to go through. And I'm sure you remember Thomas Amweni from Adeso Senior High School, who had 8 A's but was wandering in the farms doing subsistence farming simply because he could not afford the school fees of Legon. Imagine Thomas Amweni in Legon and you asking him to go for a virtual class online or via Zoom. Where is Thomas going to afford this to be able to procure a laptop? Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is promising that every single university student will be given access to the laptop so they can be part of the global digital drive. Dr. Bawumia's government will also focus on the special needs education. To start with, Dr. Bawumia would ensure that we recruit 1,000 special education teachers and retrain teachers on how to work with special needs students. Under Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, we will train more speech and language therapists and occupational and behavioral therapists to take care of the vulnerable in social and special needs. Go to our hospitals. When our special needs citizens go to the hospital, how do they communicate and engage with the doctors? How are they communicating with the nurses? Ideally, every hospital, every public space should have a special needs therapist there to support sign language and what have you, to support our citizens, our brothers and sisters with special needs. Bawumia's government will expand infrastructure at the medical school as well as at the Ghana School of Law to facilitate an increase in admission for students for medical and legal studies. Under Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, I repeat, free senior high school will not be cancelled. Under Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, free senior high school will be retained, contrary to the intentions of the incompetent, failed, corrupt former president who has pledged to cancel it in the likely event that he becomes president. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's presidency shall maintain free senior high school and shall expand on the infrastructure and deal with the challenges that comes with it. Free senior high school is not the reason why there may be challenges with feeding in our schools. Free senior high school pays for the school fees of these children. Free senior high school is not the reason why we don't have enough classrooms. If there is anything, free senior high school has come to show that we should be building several of these classrooms as far back as in 2008 when Nana Danko Akufo-Addo envisaged that what President Kufuor had done at the basic level was going to have a ripple effect in the senior high school. We just didn't prepare as a country President Kufuor, we just didn't prepare to receive the surge in enrollment in senior high schools, and that accounted for over 100,000 of BEC students dropping out every year for 80 years under the NDC government. And so if we have now opened the floodgates, paying fees for these children, and the numbers have increased, your idea shouldn't be that we should have a cutoff. The idea is, let's find creative ways to accommodate all these children whilst we continue on the expansion drive of infrastructure, so that every child will have a chance to aspire and dream to be whatever he wants to be in the future. Fellow Ghanaians, the future of our youth is under attack, and the perpetrator is no meaner person than the former president of this republic. We all need to come together, all of us, every Ghanaian everywhere. Let's join our voices and our forces together, so we do not make the same mistake we made in 2008, when we truncated all the effort and all the transformation President Kufuor was embarking, and gave this country to the NDC, and they reversed almost single thing we achieved. We need to come together to call the former president out, because he needs to stop attacking the students of our beloved country. The persistent attack and the constant ridiculing of our students, teachers, and youth is a cause for worry. His threat to review and possibly cancel free senior high school policy has become a scare to millions of parents across the country. It is causing trauma, and it's become a mental health issue for the poor who rely on this very important social safety net. He must cease from such reckless commentary immediately. And most importantly, he needs to apologize to the millions of free SHS beneficiaries, their teachers, parents, and families without delay. He is causing credibility issues for them across the world. Friends from the media, the MPP has the future of the Ghanaian youth at heart. The MPP and their leader, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has education at the heart of everything that he does. Our leader, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who has been championing digitalization and preparing this country to embrace the world ahead of us, is poised to lead Ghana to be ready for the 4th Industrial Revolution, and this we shall achieve under Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia come January 7th, 2025. Thank you for your attention, and thank you for coming. At this juncture, we have our national youth organizer here. Of course, every single comment that the former president is making goes to affect the youth of this country. And it's important that the youth of this country rise up to speak. So I invite the national youth organizer of the New Patriotic Party, Mr. Mustafa Salam, to address us.
Thank you very much, my good brother, Miracles. I think you have eloquently shown the nation the unparalleled and unmatched performance of the government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia just in the sector of education alone. What we have done today is just education, and it is quite marvelous, quite unspeakable, the achievement of the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia government. As a youth activist, as the national youth organizer for the ruling New Patriotic Party, I am absolutely disgusted by the attitude of the former president. On every single occasion that he speaks, it is difficult not to get angry as to his continuous attack on the credibility, integrity, character of young people. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, allow me to address recent remarks made by the perennial presidential candidate of the National Democratic Congress, who once again has demonstrated his blatant disregard for the future of our nation's youth. John Mahama, aka Sergeant Lee, recent derogatory remarks dismissing the government's one student, one laptop policy under the Ghana Smart Schools project as a mere ploy for votes are not only baseless, but also a testament to his desperation for power. His disregard for the education and empowerment of our youth is appalling and disgraceful. This clearly portrays John Mahama as someone who cannot think beyond the desire for votes. To him, everything is about elections. He sees these SHS students as ballot papers and not cherished young chaps or future leaders. Meanwhile, John Mahama appears to have forgotten that during his tenure, his government engaged the services of his bosom friend, Roland Agambiri, to implement same policy, which unfortunately turned into the infamous RLG scandal. Their insatiable quest for corruption did not spare such a beautiful policy. They took their greed, avarice, and dangerous attitude into such a beautiful policy which would have impacted the educational journey of our young brothers and sisters. This project was to provide laptops to SHS students, just as this government has rolled out successfully. Is John Mahama telling us that he was doing this for just votes? Was he, John Mahama, trying to implement such policy in order to bribe SHS for votes at the time? Leaders are supposed to display, leaders are not supposed to display such unbridled hypocrisy and dishonesty. Sadly, most of these SHS students are not of voting age and don't have voting rights. So as to how a former president would think that giving well-programmed laptops, tablets to these students to aid their learning and education amounts to bribing them beats every reasonable imagination. In another disgraceful display, ladies and gentlemen, the incompetent one not long ago stooped so low to undermine the hard work of our young students by accusing them of cheating at the WASCE exams without any tangible evidence. Instead of celebrating their success, he chooses to cast doubt and to sow discord for his political gain. Obviously, it is his wish that these SHS students failed so that he would use this for his politics as usual and blame the MPP government. This is nothing but gross, absolutely nothing but gross and unacceptable from a person like him. We are through this presser. We are certainly through this presser advising John Mahama to elevate his political discourse and get serious, for it's fast becoming a walking contradiction. Friends from the media, his proposed solution to youth unemployment by decoupling the Ministry of Youth and Sports is only misguided. It's not only misguided, but it also highlights his lack of understanding of the complexities of the issue. For the avoidance of doubt, sports is one of the means to develop young people, just like creative arts. How then can you take away the very critical vehicle to the ministry and claim to be solving the problem? Only he can answer that question. Is it the same John Mahama that is promising to reduce the number of ministries, now promising to create more? Sergeant Lee never ceases to amaze even the devil himself. On the issue of job creation, let's not forget his abysmal record let's not forget his abysmal track record compared to the significant strides made by the Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia-led government, which has created in the excess of 2.1 million jobs, is the highest record in the Fourth Republic. Actions speak louder than empty promises. And the incompetent one's record speaks volumes. Clearly, Sergeant Lee has no solution to youth unemployment menace in this country. No wonder under his presidency, Ghana had the Association of Unemployed Graduates. Leadership demands vision, credibility, genuine commitment to progress. The leaders who have led progress in their countries did so with vision, deep thinking, and hard work. John Mahama has been both president and vice president. Unlike Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who is yet to be president, this notwithstanding, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia stands tall in terms of impact and proposing solutions that go a long way to impact and solve critical but simple solutions that affect the everyday lives of Ghanaians. His initiatives have occasioned far-reaching positive change in our country. He's a thinker. He's a problem solver. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, unlike the twice rejected destroyer, has proven himself incapable of driving positive change through his own initiatives. We cannot afford to retrogress by entrusting our future to someone who has already been tried, tested, and rejected twice for his failure. Shamefully, this person is now deliberately pretending as though he has never been president before and attempting to prey on the emotions of Ghanaians for a comeback. My dear colleague, young people, John Mahama, aka Sergeant Lee, is a good example of a bad leader that Ghana should avoid in our quest to move to the next level. In conclusion, it would be a grave mistake to backtrack by electing the incompetent one once again. Sergeant Lee has nothing to offer us at this stage. Let's move forward with Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia, a leader who embodies the values of progress and prosperity for all. The choice is clear. Ghanaians, especially the youth, are taking a bold step into the future of possibilities for the greater good of Ghana's next chapter. Thank you very much, and God bless us all.
Thank you, youth organizer. So, they are, yeah, can you say? The can you say, baby, Eduno, a saying, I can't boom. Now, baby, I said, no, down here, do too. I hear any and cast them we are. Why, Hannah, yet it was Anna near Marseille.